All right, so today we got Master Installer Shawn Elkins returning to one of my vehicles. What are we doing today, Shawn?
We'll be installing the SmartTOP from Cars for or Mods for Cars. Sorry. It basically controls your top with your key fob. You can, I think, hold lock down and it'll open the top or close the top, and tap unlock and it'll open the top and roll the windows down, all in one shot. So it's kind of straightforward. It plugs into power ground and then into the CAN bus of the vehicle. That's where it gets a little confusing sometimes, and that's what these wires are here. And they have little black pigtails that they clip into, so you can clip into the car. And all it does is interface with the computer of the car.
Does it cause any problems with the computer, or is it
In the Mods for Cars manual, they say to unplug this when you take it to the dealer. I've never had a problem with that at all. I guess they say that if you ever plug anything aftermarket, they always get skittish and want to say that that's causing any problems. So they recommend you just unplug it.
Is that going to be easy to do after this?
We'll get it in a spot where you can unplug it, yeah.
Okay. And all I have to do is unplug it, and then the rest of the car will still work?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like daisy chained into something?
No. It's literally one little plug that gets plugged in. As soon as you unplug this, it all unplugs itself. It's just one big plug.
Okay. Pretty awesome. And the car we're working on today is a 2008 Mercedes CLK350. Obviously with a convertible top.
Right.
So now you're doing some pre-wiring here. Is that pretty common sense stuff?
Yeah, on your instruction sheet, you can download it from their website. It will give you what pin goes where and what configuration you need to be in.
Okay. And after this, do we do the firmware, or do we do that last?
We do the firmware last. They recommend you plug it in the vehicle and then follow steps to do the firmware so they know everything is correct in the car.
All right. Is that a proprietary connector of some kind, or is it pretty normal connector?
These are usually CAN bus connectors in European cars.
Okay. Because we're talking to somebody who's never put in a car stereo or something. That's pretty common to find in a European car.
Yeah.
But not an American one.
No. Well, the newest American stuff. Some new Fords carried a little bit of European style. They kind of graduated to the newer style plug.
Why wouldn't they come pre-assembled?
I don't know.
I mean, are there different ways of wiring it to make it do different stuff?
I don't know. I think they generally get these connectors because, like BMW, you use the same one, and not necessarily it would be the same pin configuration.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I can think of. You think if you're buying one for a specific car, like you did,
right?
They would come already know, hey, it goes this way.
Well, right away, seeing this part of the process, step one, I'm glad I didn't do it myself.
Yeah, it can be a pain. And the instructions aren't the best in the world for this either. You get two little bitty pictures,
Of what it should look like.
and they just say, and they're all the same color. It's red and black.
So the module's going to go right under the hood release?
It's going to go right next to the trim panel on the carpet on the floor right here. We go right there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, like in here?
No, it's actually going to sit
Right in here. Okay. Like right where it says Mercedes-Benz. That piece
Yeah.
can come off. And then, all right.
Now see the carpet comes around and splits right here.
Mhm.
So really, if you just pop this piece out, you can push the carpet enough to where you can grab the box.
Okay.
And I'll show you how to do that.
And I got to do that every time I give it to a valet?
I would only do it when you gave it to a dealership.
Is there a like a key code or something I can do on the key fob to turn it off so that I don't have to actually physically unwire something?
I think there is a valet mode.
And that would be the
That would
same?
be in the settings. We'll look that up here in a second. I've actually never done that. Customers usually just take it wherever they're going, they don't really care.
Yeah, that last video we did with the Avalanche, putting that radio in, got almost 170,000 hits on that.
Wow.
And now they have a simple kit.
Yeah, I saw that.
That
Well, I read some of the comments and they're saying, well, you know, they make a kit, they make a kit. Well, that video was done 3 years ago.
Right, when they didn't have one.
So, yeah, that was way before, you know.
In fact, that video may have inspired somebody to make a kit because so many hits on it, must be a demand. I know Jamie said he got a lot of calls about that. Like, where can I buy a kit for it?
Yeah.
So now we're going to take the trim panels apart?
Yeah. I'm going to take this sill plate loose, out of the way, and then this kick panel piece out of the way. There's a little screw cap behind the emergency brake pedal.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pop off, and there's a hidden screw back there. If you look right here, you can see the little door.
Okay.
You take that off, and there's a screw behind it.
All right.
I believe you're on YouTube. I'm like, it's not really that big of a thing, but okay.
You're a YouTube star. I married a YouTube star.
It's pretty cool though.
Now, is that a special pry tool or?
This tool, they call it a panel popper.
Okay.
This is like the go tool for anybody that's taking trim panels off. They make special ones.
Right.
I found that this is one made by Lyle. Been using them for probably 20 years.
Right.
And they're not as sharp as most, so you won't get any scratches on your panels.
Okay.
They do make them out of plastic. They're just not as strong. But they won't mar the trim panels.
Well, that's good.
This one has been great. It's got a good angle on it. Some of them come with a little ball here for more leverage. But when popping this panel out, you got to be very careful because depending on the age of the car, these plastics get really brittle and they will snap just like a Dorito. So just take your time, make sure you just go slow and it pops up slowly.
Even more important for me to be able to do it without popping the panel.
Yeah. And I would venture to say that you'd probably never have to worry about it. Let's see. It tried to break. I felt it. These little pieces sit in this sharp, really sharp tab. These two little needles.
It's not meant to be taken off.
Not generally, no. I venture to say anybody that's going to do this will probably break one at some point. That'll be a different video on how to fix that. Same thing with the kick panel. These can be even worse, and I don't know why. Maybe closer to the heat all the time. There's those little plastic metal clips. Some people try to pry it the wrong way without taking this weather stripping off, and just bust this panel all to pieces. So, like I said, you just take your time, and it comes right off. This time the metals come off the car itself, stays on the panel. You can take it off the other way, but you got more chance of breaking the plastic.
Right.
Put the seat back all the way. Pull the carpet back. And just prop the carpet up.
Nest of wires.
Yeah. So on this particular car, it's the connector right here, this black one, which is literally sitting right under this flap, right there. So you would pick it up, and they ask you to tap into these two wires. This is going to be a constant power, and this is going to be your ground.
Okay.
In most European cars, brown is ground.
Okay.
Power can be anywhere. There's no universal power spot or color. Unlike GM or Ford, they kind of have general colors of what they always use for power.
Right.
But these two we're going to tap for your main power and ground for the control box.
Right.
And then, yeah, it's a big plastic strip that holds a bunch of CAN bus wires together in a chain.
It?
It's down in there. See all those brown wires?
Yeah.
That's the CAN bus bar. So you've got to lift that out of where it's at.
Okay. That thing right there is a canvas one?
Yep. So each one of these is either an input, output to control all modules in the car. Say windows, door locks,
Is that what they
some of
actually
your
are?
lights. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you just pointed at the windows and you pointed at the...
No. Well, they can be in any configuration whatsoever.
Okay.
And to find the right one for your top is kind of tricky, and you got to hook everything up to find it. And I don't know why they're just randomly put in there, because it really doesn't matter where they are, they're all on the same line.
Huh.
So it's just two wires. It's all data, for CAN bus. Basically a send and receive. We're going to wire in our power and ground
Okay.
to the wire I showed you before. They give you these little T-taps, which used properly they work really good. But if you don't know how to use them, you need to make sure that this pierces the wire all the way through and then clips together so you got a good connection.
Gotcha.
I personally like soldering, and in this application we'll do it like this, because anybody that buys this probably doesn't want to solder. But this works very well as long as you know it's connected right. So we'll show you that.
So it's not going to make any difference in connection or how long it lasts by soldering or just using that?
In low voltage situations, no, it won't. In higher voltage, such as like a remote start, if you're tapping into anything that will draw a lot of current, you're going to want to solder it.
But this does.
It's just a better connection overall. But this right here is fine for low voltage. Literally, this is probably putting out less than an amp. It's literally just a signal to the top. So we'll go back to the black connector. That, if you look, is center of it, of the connector, pierced through,
Right.
and that's what you're looking for.
And then you snap it into place.
Yeah.
All right. So you just did the ground because that's the brown wire.
Yep. And this is positive.
The power.
Yeah.
Now it's like you're kind of jacking into something else's signal. So what is that going to be taking power away from?
This is a direct line from the fuse panel or the battery. Ground is ground. There's a big ground block right here you could actually use if you wanted to. This pin with all these. Power generally goes to some kind of like a distribution block with its own fuse. The guys that make this modification have already traced that, and this is where they recommend to plug it in.
Okay.
So that has kind of already been figured out for you.
All right.
I could run these all the way to the battery or any other known 12-volt source.
Right.
And fuse it.
And so those just plug into that.
Yeah. You have it's called a male spade. That's a female inlet. Just make sure that they sit inside. And you can kind of see through to make sure that the spade went into the connector, because sometimes they'll roll off to one side. And of course it won't connect. So they're all centered.
And do you run like a voltmeter in there to make sure that that it pierced the wire right, or
you can
enough?
You can. Generally, if you see it like this, you can kind of look up in there and see that it's centered. As long as it's centered, it's pierced.
Okay.
Yeah. When it's off to one side or low, they've also make ones that are red for smaller wires. Those are recommended because on this gauge of wire, when you crimp it, it'll cut the wire in half. So you have to have the right one according to the wire size you're using. And they make bigger ones that are yellow for bigger gauge wire.
Right. So now we have power. So I guess we're going to hook the module up and then try to figure out which one of those other wires connects to the top.
So the goal is to get this little plastic cap off. This piece right here. And it can be stubborn.
There.
Wow. All this does is secure connectors in place. We should be able to pop these out. See. So now that we have the CAN bus bar, we'll take the module, plug it in, and then you'll take the connector, plug it into the CAN bus bar, and one at a time you're going to unplug and watch your lights. The error light should flash one time when you hit unlock. If it doesn't, the 3 flashes means you keep going down the line until you find the right one.
Second one. Here, I'll just hit the I'm hitting unlock now. Nothing. It's constant, right? So I don't even need that to unlock for that one.
Hit unlock.
I hit it and then just did it again. That's it. The last one.
That's the way it goes. And then you'll take, when you unplug that, you plug it into the module harness, essentially creating a loop.
Between the harness and
Yeah,
the
so now it's looped in.
Alright. So do we test it by putting the top down before we put it all together? Or?
Oh yeah. We're going to test it that way.
So now we're going to test it.
Yeah.
So what do you hit to put the top down?
The top down, it's 4 times with 1 second each press. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
That is awesome. And you're not holding anything down on that remote. Nice. Cool. And so to put it back up, what do we hit? So what'd you do? You hit it 4 times, or?
I think it's 4 times.
So 4 times unlock, 4 times lock.
Yes.
The windows up and everything. That's awesome. All right, so the next thing, once we made sure that it worked, which it did, is we plugged the SmartTOP into a laptop. In this case, it's a Windows laptop. They do have instructions for Mac online somewhere. We have no experience with that, so we're using a Windows machine. But basically, you use the M4 Connect software, which comes up, and then you just go to firmware and settings. And these functions here, there's no explanation in the software, but in the manual, which I downloaded, they're here. And basically, so function 1 is the main switch. If you want it on or off, you would set function 1 to 1. Now I have it on because obviously I want to use it. And then you just go down here, all the little features that you want, you turn it on in the software. See, I'm an IT guy, so I know the programming. But we got it programmed with everything that I want on it, which is pretty much everything that module allows, except for daytime lights. It's the only one I really care about. And once we have that, we just write it to the module, and it'll say written successfully, and then that's it. We exit out of the software and we take it out and we wrap it up. Okay, so now it's time to put our programmed module in the car. It's got that USB cable in it.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to leave this here for programming.
Okay. That's
Since
right,
the carpet has a gap here,
okay.
we're just going to kind of lay it in nice and neat here, and then have this tucked away to where when you want to reprogram something, you can take it out and plug it into your laptop and program whatever you'd like, any other features later.
Sweet. So if I want to turn it off when I bring it to the shop or
Yeah.
the valet. I just plug it into that laptop with that USB.
Yep.
Sweet.
And this cable is provided when you buy the module.
Okay. That came with it?
Yep. So we're just going to go in reverse and tuck all the wires back in place and test it one more time.
All right, so we're putting all the wires back now. Is there a specific strategy with this, Shawn? Or we're just kind of getting in there as neat as possible?
Yeah, neat as possible. There's little channels. You can see where the stuff tucked in before. So you try to put it back where it was. Generally, no.
Is there a wrong way to do it? Something somebody who knows what they're doing would do.
Yeah, if you pinch a wire, that's bad. You kind of want to make sure nothing's in the way of getting pinched. There is a plastic cover that comes back over it. So you kind of just be gentle with it. Make sure it just lays back down in these channels. Sometimes it's a challenge, but usually it'll fall down pretty quick. Wire here. There's a little gap in the plastic. We can rotate the box and set it down.
Now, do you want to put the box there, or do you want to put it inside that with all the rest of it, and then just leave the USB cable out?
I think with the wiring that's here, they recommend putting outside, or it won't fit back in. So just making sure nothing's pinched, nothing's being smashed. This will snap back together. Like so. That lays there. Now we can take some tape and tidy this up a little bit more.
That would have been fun, living out here in Mechanicsville all by myself. Just want to be in
In the city.
suburbs with an HOA.
Snap, snap. All right. So the USB cable, you can leave it any length you want. Once we put this back down, you can actually take this and just kind of tuck it up underneath. And it'll be there.
And get out of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be stepping on it, right?
Nope. It'll be out of the way. So you just put the panels on in reverse. Be careful when you put it back in. They can crack just as easy going back in as they can coming out.
Down back that screw on.